on the Sugarland record, the song Mean Girls was definitely inspired by personal experience. But I also wouldn't call it all revenge songs either. You know, I think there is celebration songs that are inspired by real life events too. I'll put it to you like this. I have told people who have come in and out of my lives, especially those who, you know, before I was married have come in and out of my lives in a relationship perspective or an intimate perspective, I will probably write a song about you. Whether it's bad or good is up to you. So you gotta know going into it with a songwriter, you gotta know like that you may be a muse or an inspiration in another way.
Revenge of the songwriter. I definitely believe there is such a thing. It can be satisfying. It can also be kind of a dangerous power to have as a writer. You know, I think for me, it's never been so much about everyone that hears the song knowing who that song is about, so much as I think that the person who you're writing it about will know. You can set out to break somebody's heart in revenge, and then it might work, but it might work too well. You know, you have to treat the sort of the sword that is, you know, songwriting with a lot of respect. It can also be a healing thing too. You know, you can speak up with a song for people who don't have that opportunity to speak up for themselves, and that's a great thing. You know, when people are fighting a terrible sickness or they've lost a loved one and suffered injustice. You know, one of my favorite Nashville songwriters is Will Hoge, and he put out modern American protest music, and I don't ever want to get political, and yet this record to me, without jumping on either the left or the right side, just is such a great representation of a revenge of the common man and his frustration, you know, with sort of all the things in society that we tend to get frustrated with as citizens. And to me, when I think about the revenge of the songwriter, that's the higher calling. That harkens back to the 60s and the protest music that was the soundtrack to a really important time in our history. I think we can go back to that again with music. And I think that's something that songwriters have an opportunity to be on the front line and have a hand in. You can bring a voice to people.
There's such a big part of you that hopes that person will hear the song, and for me, I'm in a great relationship and I write songs about my boyfriend and love songs, and I'll tell him, you know, this song's about you, listen to it, and that too, it's also on the positive end, but the negative end for sure. I mean, whenever I write a negative song, it's usually about my past and my exes and how they hurt me, and even in the business sense, you know, people that have done me wrong. It's just so nice to be able to get my emotions out there, even if they're irrational on paper, because if I were to say these things and do the things that I want to do to these people that have done wrong, I would be in jail or something. So I can take my anger and frustrations out on a song. I do hope that they hear it and know how I feel, but for the most part it's just me getting stuff off my chest and putting it out there and hoping that people, you know, are feeling the same way and know they're not the only ones that are crazy and think these things.
I've definitely written songs, you know, after being inspired by negative feelings in a relationship or a breakup or whatever. I mean, it's a therapeutic way to get your feelings out, and then hopefully do something positive, maybe make some money off of that idea. You know, I mean, it's cool that as a songwriter you can do that. My second single, What Do You Want, was a autobiographical situation for sure, and ironically enough, so I was kind of like, ha 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 ha, hope you hear this, same sort of deal, but now it kind of backfired because now we're engaged years later. So I guess you got to watch out how vengeful you are. Now, there was one song on Lee Brice's last record called That's When You Know It's Over that I had sent to an ex-girlfriend and said, Lee Brice just cut this song that I wrote, and I wrote about you, and she said, good, I'm glad there'll be a song about me on the radio. So really, you should just use music as a tool, not as a weapon.